We'll go very swiftly and deeply into a new kind of spirituality that's always been present. It's always available. There are no closed doors to God, to heaven, to justice, to righteousness, to truth. Completely in your life, in this world, now and forever. There are many, many spiritual beings, people have lived throughout eternity in this world or any world, and if there's a physical world, which there is, and it's this world, I'm not really counting it as a world, so I'm going back, that's a misnomer. Only in this world system, this particle of dust in eternity, is there pain, trauma, fear, good guys and bad guys. And today we're going to end all of that. It's normally seen as a mystical report with heaven that gracious spiritual people have known throughout the time that this thing has existed. This planet, this earth, this world, this physical universe, that to all mystical people, all spiritual or truly religious, it's really not that important. Our heart and soul are given over to something holy, to something pure, to something true. It's called eternity, God, heaven. There is a divine presence. And with that, for today's empowerment session that we're sharing together, there is an end to all the madness. There is divine providence, and it's in your heart and soul to discover and to implement around you. And you'll save everything, you'll protect everyone, and you'll free everyone. The mystical that are with us now and have been, the spiritual ones, are in touch all day, every day with a different kind of cosmos and stars in the sky. Something so wonderful, so precious, so true, so real. It's the sense of true love begins to touch that. Love you have for your child. It's called God, and you're part of it. And though you're an adoration of God, God is an adoration of you. And that's the beginning of this message. That's the real of you. That's the true of you. That's the eternal of you. And that's how you'll take back your city streets and your mountains. By sitting quietly in this place. It's called divine providence. And with that, you'll move over the world, over the seas, over the lands, into the skies, and look at that which is really here, which is a spiritual presence, which is the body of God, which is the body of you. You're there by prayer, by understanding, by wisdom, by love. Everyone, even the most horrible person in the world, has seen God at some point. Horrible meaning they're the ones that really believe they are this body and this world exists. And today we're going to let go of that myth in favor of a mist. It's your spiritual body, your spiritual presence, your soul, and it's everywhere at all times. So we can compress the time sense, and at a geologic time we could sit quietly hundreds of years or thousands. If you look back through geological studies, or an archaeologist would look, forget all that, and look at what's really here as a spiritual person. If you're not, this might not mean anything at all. And that doesn't matter. What matters is that we today, together, see this ocean of gladness, of joy, of happiness. First of all, for today's empowerment session, of divine providence, of power, that good will out, that God will fulfill all the dreams and wishes and desires and visions of your heart and soul. That there be no more pain, No more inflictors. No one that can inflict pain on you anymore. Whether it is society at large that today looks at people that have something as thieves and people that don't have anything as someone who's been stolen from. Forget all that. We will all work hard individually to fulfill our dreams, our wishes, and our hopes. And today, there are no dreams, wishes, and hopes, only the vision of God, and we'll move into that. And you will become that, because you are that, you've been that from birth. And you were never born. And you will never die. You are this presence, this precious, divinely glittering, evanescent. There are no words for it. This morning I was looking through Evelyn Underhill's book from 1920, Practical Mysticism, where it discusses all of this in a way that I've never seen before. It's quite magical. I'm not suggesting it for anyone unless you're very well read and you can get the sense of a British writer 100 years ago, but it is a mastery of everything I'm saying today. That for the true mystic, the true believer, it's not a religious but a spiritual sense you get of God, and you transcend all the good, bad, and ugly of this world in moments. And you feel, as I do now, a whisper of presence through this room, this earth, this sky. I don't, and I never have seen the world as being solid or the sky as being the sky. I see through it. I see a godness. All the really spiritual people in the world, if you give them a few moments, very quietly ask them what they really, really see and think, beyond anything of the day-to-day, and you have to have a good communication with them, have a good comport about yourself, and listen. Ask and listen, and it's the same way you address God, prayerfully. There's ritual involved. There's kindness involved, first of all. Aren't you kind? Don't you wish kindness for everyone? And today's vision, not a dream or a hope at all, it's a vision and it's true. It's a divine vision that you look through everything with kindness and see what I see this day. I move to use myself, I'm sorry, but all the spiritual people you know in the whole world, including you, see this simplicity. And that's what's really here. It's a matter of focus. Gently turn the dial and you'll, oh, that's what's really here. Think about your children, the ones you love, a ballet you saw. Think on those things. And then extrapolate it out a little more quietly to this quiet mist that I'm talking about. All the spiritual people in the world see this. I inhabit it completely, absolutely, every second of every day. And always have and always will. And I'm asking you to be that, to be your soul, to be your spirit, fearlessly. And it takes a lot of learning and study of this world. The study being not reacting to it, not believing into it, not accepting anything about it. Except through that which is good or beautiful, you can see the divine. If you're quiet enough. If you care enough. It's what true courage is you act beyond yourself. And if you see beyond yourself and don't accept the confines of a material life, and you'll see as I see. Because you are the expression of God through the eternal universe called heaven, which is the only universe. All my spiritual friends have had these unimaginable visions of eternity of God, and the truly spiritual live with that presence all day. And a lot of people, I was mentioning my friend Corinne, the great ballerina, to my friend here, that she died at a very young age, but she carried that and lived with that, and I couldn't quite get to her enough. She would come visit my place in the woods, and she'd gone through an awful lot in her life, and utterly gorgeous ballerina. And she could express that where you would melt. Donna does it with people with her heart and her soul. Your mom did it with you from time to time and sought to do it all the time and gave herself to that cause. It's the cause of beauty, of truth, of honesty, honor, integrity. And if you do it powerfully, in a very grounded way, warmly, with love, softly, with a heart, you'll see through the madness, and you will be given many, many powers. And the evildoers in the world today will be seen as no more than shadows on a wall. It's an illusion. You have great power over everything that doesn't connect with your heart and soul. You don't have to aspire to this. You have to calm yourself and see it and remember and realize. And if you give that 1%, God, myself, all the spiritual people in the world, and around the world and through the world, they'll carry you the other 99%. And then you'll discover yourself carrying yourself out of it. The more spiritual you are, the deeper you're into this garbage, the more you gave yourself to it to try to understand it and to lift it. And today is your day, your empowerment, your moment of truth, where you and eternity meet. You are the presence of God. You're the answer to all questions. To make it very clearly from the outset, this land is yours. This from California to the New York Harbor, or however you want to imagine it. This land is your land. This land is my land. Everything about this world that's solid, that's fear-based, no longer has power over you. It's a simple vision and understanding. I remember sitting with a lot of friends in Nepal and northern India and so forth, right at the border of Tibet there years ago, and their people were ravaged, 1 million were murdered. It reminded me of the Holocaust and the horror of it. But because they were transcendent beings, you have absolute compassion for everyone, but you're living beyond it. And today you're going to live beyond all of it forever. No more criminality, no more fear. It's not about hope. Sit quietly. Address the Eternal One about this issue. And you'll see that it will leave your thought and experience. You can call it prayer, adoration, just when you're in love with the divine. You'll see through everything. And then the thoughts I'm expressing right now about good and evil, and it doesn't have to be, and it won't be anymore, they'll be easy to grasp. You simply have to pick up your palette and paint what you want to see. Over everything and through everything. It's the shadows on the wall, the kabuki theater, what seems to be anything that's physical in this world is the lie. And if you're quite spiritual, you see through it always. There's nothing to fear. There's nothing to regret. This world system sets all of us up when we come into the world. And the more spiritual we are, if you address anyone who's truly spiritual, they've gone through more hell than we have. Everything's to shock you, to steal all the finenesses of your senses and put you in abeyance of something horrible. And the horrible thing is simply believing you're this body in this world at this time. There are no bodies, there is no world, there is no time. There's only this timeless purity, this quiet, this decency, this wonder. And it's yours, it's your soul, it's your God, it's yourself, it's forever. You will not die, you will understand this. It's quite wonderful to be you at this time. You get to roll the whole thing up. That's a destiny. And they'll hit you around the clock for a few days or months, and it's just going to awaken your deeper senses to the reality of what's being spoken, and you'll be quite happy for the little battles, for the last battle. You're here to save the world, which in the scripture meant to illumine, to enlighten. When it used the word sin in the original transcripts, it was meant, the word meant separation from God. Not sin, it's separation from God. It's a very lightly held thought. Let go of every thought, every sense, every sentiment, the good, the bad, and the indifferent, and you'll see God as God is. And the eyes that see are God. Your eyes are God. But you're the great hero of every myth. Through allowing yourself to incarnate, as it were, in this world at this time, to dispel the myth of there being a world, for there is none. There was none. I'm living proof, you're living proof. Study the writings of all the saints and sages and mystics and all the great poets, and you'll see through everything. And you'll see everything as it is. It's like William Blake said, cleanse the doors of perception, and you will see everything as it is. Infinite. A few short months of this prayer to the only God, and you will become, humbly speaking, the only God. God gives godness away. It's not about religion or hope, not about psychology. It's not about good or evil, crime or punishment. It's about the real you, the quiet you, the quiet one, sitting atop the distant mount. You've been in prayer and meditation, the real you, through this whole travail. And now you'll rise. You take back your sword of discrimination. In other words, you're good and evil. What's right? What's wrong? You'll see through it in weeks or months. You don't have to be well read or anything. You just have to be wise and discriminate about this world, and that you don't take it in, no matter what it is. It's been called heroism. People at great moments of stress do something beyond themselves. And I'm saying if you get very quiet, you'll be beyond yourself. And you'll be the greatest hero of any myth. You will find God looking out from your eyes. The purity of this which we call God is something described by all the mystics, and what you're going through right now has been called by Thomas à Kempis in The Imitation of Christ. He called it the dark night of the soul. I know when about 1968 or so, for 5 months I was in a vision. I basically just hairline from death one night and didn't care because I was completely spiritual and this world was garbage and didn't matter. And so for 5 months after that, God spoke to me in a way of just, I lived beyond the whole world, walked the streets of South Philly and New York and Washington, wherever I had to be, and saw God everywhere. I had a compassion for everyone in the world. So the world as God sees it. And it's never gone, never left. So after the end of 5 months, you just have unimaginable compassion. And you can't get there from reading the newspaper or checking your subscriptions or whatever it's going to be. You can get there from believing and knowing that the wish in your heart that goodness would prevail, that your family members are safe, well fed, and there are no more horrors in your neighborhood, in this world. Because beyond all that seems to be isn't a world but a universe of unimaginable purity. The meaning of it is infinite. It's wonderful. So at the end of those 5 months, then I remember sitting in my living room. My dad was a homicide cop or head of intelligence in Philadelphia at the time, I think, detectives, and he walked in the living room. He was just a very tough guy. And so I was sitting there in this. After 5 hours sitting there, and that was at the end of 5 months of walking the streets of wherever, doing what I had to do, and the heavens opened, and you just reach beyond everything that seems to be. It's just so vast and so remarkable. There's words like ecstasy, but if you can make that, I always fail with this word, infinite, the preciousness of it. It gets softer and lighter and kinder and truer. It's like it would be around an infant, and then it gets so much more and so much more and so much more in a moment of time, and then there are vast expanses of look like waves, but they're golden, and they are eternity, and they're infinite, and then the next moment something else and something else, and you're so contrite and you're so part of it. And so I figured, well, at the end of this, my dad walked in, and I knew that if he could see what I saw then, he had to deal with seeing dead bodies and murderers, and if he could see that, then I knew that day to be over. And of course, he passed a couple decades back, and he's been with me every moment of every second of every day, and he was simply had the same heart and soul. We always had the same love, and we're one person, one beingness. There's only one God. There's only one you, one me. We see it coming in and out of this life in an infant's eyes, in the presence at a birth or at a death. When someone you love is passing, that presence is there. And what I'm saying is, what's in between is nothing. Again, I've lived without having experience this is real all the time. And I'm begging you to feel it. Because I'm not here, and you're not really here. And if you're understanding what I'm saying, and you are what I'm saying, then we're here, and it's all over. And the supposed evildoers, it's an illusion. As horrible as it is, and it's horrible, and the man in me would like to do whatever from time to time with it, but I know that this is the answer. You're a good person. You are your soul's presence. You are presence. You are eternity. You're God's answer to the wickedness of this world. It's just a few months of quiet, of contemplation. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to think about anything. I'm very, very, very well read, but that doesn't mean anything. Because from this moment on, God will be with you every moment. God will make it work for you. You are God's presence. You're the answer. And there are no questions. Just this beautiful quiet. And you'll see everything, you'll understand everything. There'll be no confusion. And you'll see this world as an illusion, as all spiritual people have depicted it in their writings and teachings forever. And it's just a time today to get there now. God will be with you every moment. God will be with you every moment. God, this infinite purity and infinite intelligence, will be with you every moment from now on in, to teach you, to bring this all back to your memory, your recollection. You're going to recall everything that you know spiritually in this life, and all the teachings that's been coming to you, and you'll remember that you are this presence. And that the world is what it appears to be, an illusion and a horror show. But there's nothing illusory about the purity of your heart and the desire of your soul to live beyond this. And you can, and you will, and you shall. God will be with you. You'll become God on your feet. Everything in you will relax. All your conditioning from childhood to now will simply evaporate in a way that's directed from on high, but you'll find yourself on high doing this. This is you placed yourself here and allowed yourself to be surrounded by this evil, but is an illusion. And now yourself will slowly release you. And you'll protect your friends and loved ones. And there'll be peace in the valley. And kindness evermore. You are the answer to everything. You'll overcome the dark force without half trying. You're with God. God will remind you of everything. And that's the way it's going to be. Thank you for listening. Thank you. Thank you, sir.